A respiratory infection at the Pines in Bracebridge. Doug Ford talks Muskoka and provincial matters. And a northern group of students takes on the task of gathering more PPEs. All that and more coming up right now. Welcome to Cogeco News for April 1st. I'm James Bowler with what's happening in your community. And to our top story, a recent respiratory infection has broken out at one of Muskoka's long-term care homes, spouting major concerns amid the COVID-19 pandemic. 4 people have come down with mild symptoms related to a respiratory infection at the Pines in Bracebridge. This currently does not mean there is a COVID-19 outbreak at the long-term care home. However, the staff there have taken steps to act as though it is a serious outbreak by isolating these 4 patients from the rest of the population at the home. YourTV had an opportunity to ask Dr. Charles Gardner about this situation and the concerns surrounding it.
So I think that people are rightfully concerned about any outbreak, respiratory outbreak in a long-term care facility. They are common through the winter, and at this time of year we have a number of facilities that have respiratory outbreaks. All are under investigation and have had laboratory tests submitted. None had come back to date with positive COVID.
Earlier today, I was joined over the phone by Premier Doug Ford for a quick opportunity to get an update from our provincial leader.
COVID-19 constitutes a danger of major proportions.
So, Premier, there are concerns about this sort of lack of testing in Ontario. I know recently Ontario was cited as having the lowest per capita testing in Canada. What are the plans to increase that testing?
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest problem that we have faced is the fluid called reagent, and there's a swab that they test you with, and they put into this liquid called reagent. We were getting it from the U.S., and thanks to the Ministry of Health, their technicians there in their labs, they were able, just in the last day or so, come up with their own reagent material that we're getting expedited through Health Canada to get approvals on that. We've also got a purchase order for a company in Ottawa called Spartan. They have test kits that we can get immediate results. We've ordered 900,000 kits off them. They're getting approval, again, expedited through Health Canada. And if you look at any country that surges the population on testing, they get ahead of the curve, be it South Korea or Germany. They're the examples we want to follow. And we've ramped up the testing labs up to, I believe it's well over 33, and our goal is to get 70 labs through the private sector as well. So we're leaving no stone unturned on this. And we have the largest population in Ontario, and I'm sorry, in Canada, I should say, with 14.5 million people. And it's a large region, but we're getting to every corner of this province.
So, Premier, municipal funding has been cited as one of the biggest concerns, especially in the Muskoka area. And I know everyone has their hand out right now. I know there's a lot of need. But what is the province looking to do to help with the municipal funding needs?
Well, I'll tell you what we're doing overall is we're focusing on making sure that we're deferring property tax payments for municipalities to make school boards by at least 90 days. The deferral will provide municipalities with the flexibility to turn and provide $1.8 billion in property tax deferrals to residents, as well as families that have children under 12. We're giving everyone $200 per child under 12. Anyone with a child with special needs is $250, and then we're doubling the gains payments for 194,000 low-income seniors, and putting $3.3 billion into the health care. And just to give you a couple examples, there's quite a few, but a couple of them is making sure that we put $1 billion dedicated to COVID-19, make sure we have the contingency fund, $953 million for hospital sector, including $594 million to address capacity issues, $341 million for 1,000 additional acute care beds and 500 critical care beds. So there's a whole list, but we will not spare a penny to make sure that we protect the health and the well-being of the people of Ontario.
All right, Premier, now you recently made a request to cottagers to not come up to cottage country, to any type of cottage country, Muskoka especially, but it seems that that request has fallen on deaf ears. So my question to you now is, what would you say to the people that have decided to make this, trepidous journey?
Well, number one, I recommend not to, because you're putting a burden on municipalities and Muskoka region as a whole. As simple as going into the grocery store and putting a burden on the back of grocery stores in the way that people from other regions, from urban areas, going up to cottage country and cleaning the shelves out. We don't have the capacity for the hospitals up there. If you see the spike up in Huntsville, that's my second home. We have a place in Port Sydney, and I haven't went up there because it's not fair to the local people that we're putting the additional stress on the system. So I can't stress it enough. If you're in Toronto, you're listening to this show, please just go back to Toronto, and we have the resources, the hospitals, and the supplies for you back in Toronto. You're really hurting your neighbors up there, and it's just not fair to the people up in cottage country.
And finally, Premier, you've recently stated that schools will be closed until early May. Now, in BC, the officials there are saying that this could be lasting well into June. So I'm just wondering about your comments, or what your thoughts are on that.
Sure, I know Quebec's following the May the 4th, but I won't hesitate to shut those schools down for the rest of the year. We're following the Chief Medical Officer of Health advice, and we'll see where we're at on May the 4th. I know May the 1st, the teachers are able to go in there and get the supplies they need, because nothing is more important than the health of our children, and we will not hesitate to shut it down for the rest of the year.
And Premier, I just have one last question for you, and this is more of a personal tone. I'm just curious, and I don't know how many people asked you, but how are you doing, and how is your family doing?
Well, I appreciate that, James. We're doing well, but I worry about the frontline healthcare workers and the grocery clerks, for example, that go in day after day to make sure we have food on our tables. I want to thank them and all the frontline folks. And we as I've said many times, we have an army behind us, the 14.5 million people of this great province. They're doing a great job. And James, I got to thank you. I want to thank you for your leadership. You're the voice of Muskoka, and people watch your show. And thank you for getting the message out. And the message is, make sure you, to the best of your ability, stay at home, self-isolate, practice social distancing, and only go out when you need groceries. So it's absolutely critical we get through the turbulent waters we're going to face in the next few weeks. But we will get through it. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it together and come out stronger than ever before. But we have to follow the protocol of the Chief Medical Officer. I just can't stress it enough. It's absolutely critical.
Thank you very much, Premier, for taking the time.
Oh, well, thank you. And I just want to wish everyone up in the Muskoka region, God bless you. And again, we'll get through this, and everyone, once we get through it, we'll be up there enjoying the cottage country.
And that was Premier Doug Ford earlier this morning on the phone with me. You can catch that full interview on our Facebook page or on YourTV.tv. We're taking our first break, but when we come back, an update from Gravenhurst Mayor Paul Kelly. Welcome back. Gravenhurst Mayor Paul Kelly spoke to YourTV this morning as well to give an update on the COVID-19 situation. Topics ranged from how town staff are managing this crisis and how the town is looking to support those in need.
As far as rest of facilities, they remain closed as they have been for some time. The town hall is closed to the public, as is the Opera House, the library, and that remains to be the case. We do have some staff that are working in the town hall. Many are working from home. Some have childcare related issues. Right now, we believe that the vast majority of our staff that continue to be working are working on work that needs to be done. Example, we have planners who can do work from home. We've got lots of people that are looking towards doing construction and doing planning related issues, and they need some advice, suggestions. So they can talk to them by phone, and apparently they're using internally within departments, using Zoom to be able to communicate with each other. So that has been an interesting tool that our departments are using, our employees are using. At this point in time, we do believe we've got lots of meaningful work that the staff are doing. We're going to probably have to analyze it in the next few weeks to see where that goes from now. But for now, we're okay for now. One of the things I will also mention too that has begun to surface in Gravenhurst, I suspect throughout not only Gravenhurst but the district and throughout Ontario, is the numbers of families that are now in a pretty serious situation with regard to employment or lack thereof, and the need for things like food and anything that they can possibly get to survive as a family. Many of those families are also in isolation, so they can't even get out. So we're starting to notice that through GAP, Gravenhurst Against Poverty, and some of our other services within town are really expressing concern about how this is exponentially increasing. And so I'm working with the district right now to look and see what we can do, as well as from the town perspective, what can we do financially to assist those people as they get through this really tough time. Because for many of them, they've never been here before. There's lots that have, and they know the process, they know what they need to do, but there are people that have never had to deal with social services. And it really is imperative that they get the right information so that they know how to access them, and they can let us know who needs help.
And Mayor Kelly has also recorded a new community update video. You can see that in its entirety on our website, yourtv.tv. We are back to the break, but stay tuned to find out how a group of medical students is working to help Northern Ontario hospitals. And joining me now is Jennifer Hamel from the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. Jennifer, thank you very much for taking the time.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So Jennifer, interestingly, your school, the students there, you guys are working to help out with the need for PPE. You actually sent us a message the other day letting us know about this new initiative that you guys have taken on. So tell me a bit about this.
Yeah, so this is an initiative that is actually across the province right now. So because I'm from the Northern Ontario School of Medicine, we're focusing on getting PPE for Northern Ontario. With that being said, Northern Ontario is unique with its vast geography. So we also have not only medical students, but other allied healthcare professional students that are working with us so that we're able to supply all of Northern Ontario. Currently, we're split out into different teams, with our goal being to supply PPE to everyone that's in need. Currently, our initiative is trying to get the word out. We're sending out our needs assessment surveys to all the local hospitals and clinics, long-term care facilities, finding out what our healthcare providers need. And then as students, we're sourcing the PPE. And we're doing that a few ways. So one, we have a PPE drive, and that's what I'm doing and why I reached out to contact you. And so we're just looking for donations from businesses, individuals in the community that have any PPE that they can spare. We're also working on PPE production, so we're reaching out to businesses in the community. If anyone has any resources to help make face shields is something that we're really interested in, 3D printing and laser cutting, so there's initiatives there. And then we also have another part of our initiative for fundraising, and all the money that we're raising will be going to purchase resources to make PPE, as well as shipping to different parts of Northern Ontario that are in need right now.
That's amazing. I think that you guys are doing such great work. I know that this is a stressful time for anyone, but for you guys, you're kind of caught between right now. I'm sure school is out at this point. And actually, I'm curious about that too. How are you guys doing online classes right now still? Are you doing any kind of learning at this point?
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a change. Our clinical activities have been postponed for the time being, so we are doing online learning. That being said, as medical students, we're going to be on the front lines very soon. Myself, I'm about a year and a half away from having to be on the front lines right now, and I feel thankful to be able to stay home. But also, I feel the need to really help my colleagues, listening to my future colleagues and hearing their need. I really think it's important to be able to advocate for them because I'm in the position to do that. And I know if I was in their shoes, and I will be in a few years, I'd want someone advocating for proper protection for me if I'm out in the field.
Fantastic. Well, Jennifer, just one last time, just let people know how they can get in touch with you. And again, some of the highest need stuff that you're looking for right now.
Sure. So the best way to contact us is we have a website as well as Facebook, and it's Northern Ontario PPE for HCPS, so healthcare providers. And I will provide you with all the links that you can share with everyone on your Facebook. As well, our main thing right now is we're looking for N95 masks, gloves, gowns, anything in any way that we can use to protect healthcare providers that you can think of. Hand soap, hand sanitizer, if anyone's able to source that in the community. And any donation, small or big, counts and really does make a difference to the healthcare providers right now.
Well, Jennifer, thank you. I want to say thank you very much for doing this initiative. I think you and your fellow students are obviously some, very, you're going to have some very shining careers in the future if you're taking this kind of initiative on now.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks again, Jennifer. We are going to take a quick break and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. While many have taken to self-isolation and are able to live off stores of food in their homes, there are some in the community that still aren't able to afford these necessities. And for them, the Mana Food Bank is still up and running.
We at Mana Food Bank are continuing to serve our clients during this difficult time of the COVID pandemic. We are offering our clients our assistance just under different circumstances. We no longer have access to the food bank. During open hours, we have tables and a tent set out front where our clients can come to the table and be greeted by a volunteer. They come to the table one at a time. They keep 6 foot distance while they're lined up. The requests for food are taken inside, are filled, and are brought out again to the table, and the clients approach one at a time and take the groceries on their way. Because of the impact of the business closures now being felt and the job losses increasing, we feel we're going to need to reach out a bit further to support those who suddenly find themselves in need. And as things progress, we will be offering some delivery capability. We're just in the stages of putting all of these new options in place, but they will be there very shortly. We must put a huge shout out to our amazing community. Donations have been many and generous. People are still bringing some food donations along. We're not discouraging donations, but to ensure distancing, if we keep people out of the stores and from contact at the food bank, financial donations are encouraged for the time being. Also, at this time of year, and it's already in place, we do our spring envelope campaign. It will be coming out just before Easter. 2 things about Easter. We are normally closed on Good Friday, but in these circumstances, we will be open to clients on Good Friday, and the envelope will appear in the newspapers as per usual. However, the donations have been so plentiful to this date. Anybody who has not done so but wishes to now could take advantage of that envelope and send in a check if they feel they are able to do so, or they could tuck the envelope away for future use when it's more convenient to them. Also, the town has just today stepped up with a very generous cash donation, and they have made available to us their crews to help us deliver the groceries from the grocery stores to the food bank, because our Beaver Creek community work crew cannot support us during this time, as they must not leave the prison. So all in all, these are difficult times. We need to not panic. We need to be prudent in taking care of ourselves so that we're not infecting others, and we need to be patient. As things slow down a bit, we're all trying to cope as we learn to live in our new reality, but we will all get through this.
And we're taking our last break, but when we come back, I'll have a recap of today's major local stories. Stay tuned. Welcome back. As promised, here's a recap of what made headlines today. The Pines, already on lockdown from visitors due to COVID-19 pandemic, is now isolating 4 residents who are exhibiting mild symptoms related to a respiratory illness. It is important to note this does not mean the illness is COVID-19, and tests have gone in for that, but the long-term care home is taking it seriously to protect other residents. Premier Doug Ford joined us this morning by phone to chat about some local and provincial updates, and he gave another message to cottagers asking people to stay home if they can. And a group of students from the Northern Ontario School of Medicine are taking the task of gathering and delivering PPEs for Northern Ontario hospitals. As always, you can follow these updates and other stories on yourtv.tv or our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. That's Cogeco News. For more information on the program, head over to yourtv.tv or connect with us on social media by searching YourTV Muskoka. And remember to catch us live at 5 Monday to Thursday. From everyone here at Cogeco News, thanks for watching. Have a good night. Stay safe. Stay home.